Hey guys, DK2 Strong from the Guild of Pride. Last Friday we ran ICC 25 Heroic like we do every Friday. The only twist to this one, you were only allowed to wear Wrath of the Lich King gear, with the exception of a few people who wore Cataclysm greens because they didn't have the proper gear. At first we were a little worried about this, but in the end it turned out to be alright because the people who were in Cataclysm greens didn't pull any more than 10k DPS, which was average DPS back in Wrath. Before I switch you guys into the video, I'm going to briefly explain how we set up each fight and how we were able to get the boss kill. Our top DPS was Zeri, who was pulling about 20 to 30k DPS per fight. Yes, she was an ICC gear, and yes, she did have Shadowmourne. Going in the same order as the ICC raid, we started off with Lord Marigar. As you'll see in the field of play, there's a triangle and a square. All the range DPS, melee DPS, and healers went to triangle. The tanks went to square. The reason you have the tanks stack up together is so that Lord Marigar's cleave gets split between the two tanks. Periodically throughout the fight, Lord Marigar is going to be summoning things called bone spikes, as you'll see right now. Those spikes need to go down as soon as possible. The faster they go down, the more likely it is you'll get an achievement. Also, being in only Wrath gear, you don't have very much health, and they deal about 8,000 damage every few seconds, so those need to go down as fast as possible, and yes, the healers can heal through them. Aside from the bone spikes, you need to make sure you're staying out of fire. The fire does a lot of damage, so you need to make sure you get out of that as fast as you can. Right now you'll see he's casting an ability called Bone Storm. I wouldn't worry about Bone Storm too much. It doesn't deal very much damage. The one thing you should be considerate of is that he will keep casting Bone Spikes while he's doing Bone Storm. As soon as he's done with Bone Storm, you want to pull him back to square. As you'll see right now, the tanks are getting a little split up, so it's crucial that the tanks stay together regardless of where square is. Next up we have Lady Death Whisper. Now this fight was a real pain in the ass. What you're going to need for this is at least 5 healers, 3 tanks, and the rest DPS. What we did was took 2 tanks. One tank took the left side, the other tank took the right side. All your DPS need to be ranged DPS and just nuking the ads the entire time. When people get mind controlled, you need to make sure you're CCing them so that Lady Death Whisper doesn't make them blow their cooldowns or anything like that. The next thing you need to watch for is ads that turn into abominations. This can either happen from Lady Death Whisper turning them into abominations, or them turning into abominations upon death. These need to be kited because they hit really hard. If any of the healers have aggro of them, it will most likely one-shot them. The other ads you need to watch for are spirits that are going to be spawning around Lady Death Whisper toward the end of the fight after her shield goes off. These spirits will explode, and if more than a handful explode in the group, say goodbye to your melee DPS and probably your tank. One last thing Lady Death Whisper does during this fight is throw something down called Death and Decay. This is a huge green aura. You need to get out of it or it will deal a lot of damage. I've never seen a healer in Wrath gear keep up with the amount of damage it puts out. Also, when her shield's down, she's going to be doing an ability called Frostbolt. This needs to be interrupted or it's going to deal about 40,000 damage to the tank. Aside from that, once her shield is down, what we did was blow all our cooldowns, including heroism, and nuke the crap out of the boss. Unfortunately, my fraps cut off and I wasn't able to get her killed, but we did get her down pretty low on fraps. Next up we have Gunship, aka Loot Ship, and yeah, in Wrath of the Lich King gear, it's just as easy, maybe a little bit harder than it is in MOP and Cataclysm gear. Simply what you do is have your ranged DPS stand on the edge of your boat, nuking down their ranged. the ones on the edge of their boat. The cannon people need to shoot the rocketeers in the back so your boat doesn't take too much damage. As soon as the frost mages come out, have whoever was on the cannon sent over and kill the frost mage. Make sure you have someone tank Saurfang so that he doesn't beat up any of the DPS. If you stay over on the other boat, Saurfang will gain stacks, which make him hit much harder. You want to avoid that at all costs. So as soon as the frost mage dies, jump back over, get back in your cannon, and keep nuking. Next up, we have Deathbringer Saurfang. Now, unlike having MOP and Catagear, he can prove to be a real problem. If you have melee DPS in the group who are not using single target only and they're doing AoEs, they're going to attract the attention of the Blood Beast, and that means the Blood Beast is going to attack them. Every hit the Blood Beast does and gets off successfully, Saurfang is going to get some runic power. When he gets up to full runic power, he's going to mark someone in the target, and that'll be a random player. When he marks someone, they're going to take huge amounts of damage, and if they die, it heals Saurfang for about a third of his health. The other thing you need to worry about that heals Saurfang is the debuff that he gives the tank. This is why you need 2 tanks for this fight. The other tank needs to pull off of whoever gets the debuff, as to not heal Saurfang. Every time Saurfang strikes the tank with the debuff, he will heal himself. Also, the Blood Beasts, every time they land a strike, they will heal Saurfang as well. So the ranged DPS need to kite and nuke all the Bloods as fast as they can to get them down ASAP so they can switch back to the boss. I apologize in advance about the skipping toward the end. We had a few people in the group who did not know the fight too well, causing the Bloods to attack them, which meant Saurfang got a lot of his marks out and the Bloods healed him a lot. So yeah, we wiped the first time around. Now we have the 5th boss in the raid, Festergut. The hard part about Festergut is the initial start of the fight is when he deals the most damage to the raid group. So healers probably want to pop a CD or 2. The thing that you need to worry about on Festergut is the spores that spawn out. He's going to spawn spores on any random target. Now you need to have a place where the melee can go and where the ranged and healers can go to stack up. As you can see, the spores just came out now. Now the melee are going to go to triangle, the healers are going to go to square, and they're going to stack up, which will give them a debuff that will decrease the damage taken by 20% and can stack as many times as you want. This is necessary, especially for the tanks, or they're going to be taking crazy amounts of damage. After you worry about the spores, the only thing you need to worry about is the tanks getting up past 8 stacks. Festergut is going to be giving a debuff out to the tanks. Once it gets up to 10 stacks, the tank is just going to instantly bloat and die. So make sure the other tank is pulling off at 8 stacks. One last thing about the start of the fight. Tanks and DPS all need to be right underneath Festergut. DPS obviously on Festergut's backside. Ranged and healers need to be spread out at least 5 yards away from each other, making spores a bit harder to stack for. If you get too close to one another, you have the potential to throw up on each other, which will disorient the target and deal a pretty heavy dot. You don't want to get that on too many people, especially the healers. But like I said before, if you miss out on a spore stack, you'll probably end up dying. Finally, for this video, we have Rotface. Now, Rotface is a lot different from Vesterga. First of all, he doesn't have spores or inhale blight. Instead, Rotface gets adds, little ooze adds that the off tank needs to be pulling. Like you'll see right now, he's throwing up. You need to stay behind that or it'll deal a pretty good amount of damage. The off tank with the adds needs to be running around in a circle collecting all the adds. When the adds first spawn, there'll be very little, and they cannot be taunted, so whoever gets adds, which starts off as a debuff on the character, needs to run to the off tank so that the add spawns on him. Once the two adds conjoin together, they're going to form a slightly larger add. This add can be taunted, slowed, and attacked, so the off tank needs to make sure he's doing that. When the adds get too big, they're going to be known as a big ooze. This big ooze will explode and deals a heavy AoE, so this cannot be run through the raid or it will most likely cause a wipe. With that being said, the ranged and the healers, even though you need to stay spread out, need to stay away from the big add. The off tank job is already hard enough with all the slime puddles coming out and him having to keep it away from the group and the tanks, so you need to take the initiative and stay away from the big add. Lastly, he's going to be summoning slime pools like I had just said. Make sure you're staying out of the slime pools. They don't deal too much damage, but they are quite a nuisance if you stand in it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and throw them in the comments below. If you like what we do, The Pride, you can subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any fun stuff. We should be finishing this video up on Friday when we do our second part of the run in Wrath of the Lich King gear and record it. Hopefully, I will be getting my Shadowmourne next run, so I'll make that a video too. I'll see you guys next time.